Fasting is one of the most powerful ways to reset your body and improve your health. But many people struggle with the idea of going for hours or even days without eating. Fasting can boost metabolism, improve digestion, and even help with weight loss. What if I told you there's a way to get all the benefits of fasting without completely giving up food? Yes, you heard that right. You can still eat and trigger the same powerful effects in your body. So what are the key principles behind this method? And why is it becoming a game changer for so many people? Stay tuned as we break it all down. Before we jump in, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We've got a Q&A video coming up where we'll be answering your questions, so make sure to leave yours below and stay tuned for that. All right, let's get into today's video. Imagine being able to get the benefits of a water fast without having to endure long periods of complete food abstinence. The key here is that the process is not solely about the weight you lose during the fast. Rather, it is about the deep cleansing your body undergoes. When you use this method, your body begins to reverse the damage that may have accumulated over time from poor dietary choices, stress, or environmental factors. By reducing your protein intake to very low levels and cutting back on your calories to less than half of what you normally consume, you create an environment in your body that signals it to start cleaning out unwanted cells and substances. This process not only helps with weight loss in the immediate sense, but also sets you up for better metabolic function in the future. Let's talk a little bit about how your body responds during this time. When you reduce your protein and overall calorie intake, your body goes into a state where it begins to recycle old or damaged components. This recycling process is a natural cleanup mechanism that helps remove damaged cells, misfolded proteins, and other cellular debris. It is the same process that happens during a water fast, and by following this special eating plan, you encourage your body to tap into that mechanism. At the same time, you benefit from a drop in insulin levels. This is particularly important because high insulin levels are linked to insulin resistance, which in turn is a contributing factor in many health issues, including weight gain and certain chronic conditions. I want you to consider this method as a tool in your health toolbox, especially if you have found strict water fasting to be too challenging. Many people enjoy water fasting, and if you are one of them, that is perfectly fine. However, if you have ever felt that extended periods without food make you feel weak, dizzy, or simply unable to function properly, this alternative may be just what you need. By eating in a way that is designed to mimic the fasting state, you keep your body in a state where it still experiences the benefits of a fast, but you get some nourishment that helps maintain your energy levels and overall well-being. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity. The rules are straightforward. First, you consume less than 50% of your usual calorie intake. Second, you keep your protein very low, between 15 and 20 grams per day. For someone smaller in size, 15 grams may be sufficient, while a larger individual might need up to 20 grams. The idea behind keeping protein low is to limit the amount of building blocks available to your cells, thereby triggering the recycling process. It might seem counterintuitive at first because we often hear about the importance of protein in building and repairing our bodies. However, in this controlled situation, the goal is to put your body into a state that resembles fasting. Additionally, many who follow this method choose to keep their carbohydrates on the lower side. While you do not have to adopt a strict low-carb regimen, doing so can help your body reach the desired state more effectively. I want to share with you a day from my own experience. On one particular day of the 5-day cycle, I started my morning with a simple meal that consisted of soup and salad. The salad was made with about 50 grams of lettuce, 50 grams of tomatoes, 25 grams of cucumber, 50 grams of bell pepper, and 25 grams of onion. On its own, this salad contains almost no fat, but to add healthy calories, I drizzled 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil over it. Alongside the salad, I enjoyed a vegetable soup that I either prepared myself or purchased from a trusted store. On this day, the soup I bought had only a small amount of fat, about 2.3 grams. Altogether, this first meal provided roughly 30 grams of fat. Protein is kept to a minimum in this diet. In the meal I just described, the soup contributed around 4.5 grams of protein, and together with the trace amounts from the vegetables, I ended up with a little over 6 grams of protein for that meal. The carbohydrate content was very modest, with most vegetables offering just a gram or two each, and the soup contributing a bit more because of the vegetables like carrots and other ingredients. In total, the meal came in at about 20 grams of carbohydrates and around 380 calories overall. This is just the beginning of the day's plan. Later on, I prepared a stir-fry that was both tasty and in line with the diet's requirements. I chose a variety of vegetables such as leek, onion, cauliflower, asparagus, avocado, and a small portion of sweet potato. To spice things up, I used a blend of salt, pepper, and a pinch of curry powder, and I cooked everything in extra virgin olive oil. For those of you watching your carbohydrate intake very closely, you might consider omitting the sweet potato in favor of more low-carb vegetables like extra asparagus or additional avocado. In this stir-fry, the vegetables themselves are almost fat-free, except for the avocado, which adds roughly 7 grams of fat, and the olive oil contributes about 28 grams. The total fat from this second meal came to around 36 grams. Again, the focus in this meal was to keep protein levels very low. The cauliflower, which was the main vegetable in the stir-fry at 200 grams, did provide a bit of protein, but all the other ingredients contributed negligible amounts. In total, this meal supplied about 8.4 grams of protein, while the carbohydrate content was a little higher, ending up around 32 grams. When I combined the meals of the day, the soup and salad along with the stir-fry, I calculated that the total for the day came to roughly 66 grams of fat, 15 grams of protein, 52 grams of carbohydrates, and around 867 calories. These numbers were carefully chosen to keep the body in a state where it benefits from the fasting-mimicking effects. The macronutrient breakdown of this plan shows that most of the calories come from fat, about 69% in fact. This is higher than most standard diets, but it is intentional here because it helps the body transition into a state of ketosis. The protein content remains extremely low, around 7% of the total calories, which is crucial for triggering the recycling processes. Carbohydrates make up the remaining 24% of calories. Although some might be accustomed to a ketogenic diet that emphasizes a very low carbohydrate intake, in this plan, the overall lower calorie consumption means that even with a slightly higher percentage of carbohydrates, the benefits still occur. One of the challenges when selecting foods for this fasting-mimicking diet is finding ingredients that naturally contain very low levels of protein. Many of the foods we normally enjoy have more protein than is ideal for this plan. This means you cannot simply reduce the portion sizes of your usual meals and expect the same results. It is important to choose foods that are naturally low in protein. For instance, many animal-based products are off the table because they are too high in protein. Even items that are usually considered healthy, like bone broth, have too much protein. One serving of bone broth might provide 8 to 10 grams, which can quickly take up a large portion of your daily allowance. For those who wish to participate in this type of diet, I recommend sticking with certain types of foods. Leafy greens can be eaten almost without limit. You can also enjoy many non-starchy vegetables, although it is wise to keep the quantities in check. Tubers, like sweet potato, rutabaga, or parsnip, can be incorporated into soups, but it is best to use them sparingly because they do contain starch and extra calories. The primary source of fat and calories should come from extra virgin olive oil. Typically, you should limit your olive oil intake to about 4 or 5 tablespoons a day to make sure you remain under 50% of your usual calorie intake. For those who like variety and do not want to spend too much time measuring and planning, there is another option available. Some companies offer pre-packaged kits that are designed to mimic a fasting diet. These kits come with everything pre-measured, and they are designed to keep you within the necessary macronutrient ranges. However, these kits can be expensive, costing around $200 for a 5-day supply, and may not be the best option if you enjoy cooking and have some time to plan your meals. In many cases, preparing your own meals will give you more control over the ingredients and ensure you get enough fiber and other beneficial nutrients from fresh vegetables. Additionally, when you prepare your own food, you avoid the potential downsides of pre-packaged kits, such as the presence of too many starches or additives that could cause discomfort, especially if you have issues like dysbiosis or small intestine bacterial overgrowth. I understand that some of you may be wondering if this approach really works. The answer is yes, it does work. The dietary plan has been developed with a lot of attention to detail, and the numbers have been carefully calculated to trigger the desired bodily responses. You do not have to worry about guessing whether you are in the right state. If you follow the guidelines closely, your body will shift into ketosis and start the recycling process. Even though the carbohydrate content might be higher than what you would see in a strict ketogenic diet, the overall calorie reduction makes up for it. For instance, while a traditional ketogenic diet might call for only about 5% to 10% of calories from carbohydrates, this plan uses a slightly higher percentage because the total number of calories is much lower. This method also has practical benefits. If you find that you are able to do a water fast for one day without much trouble but struggle with longer fasts, this fasting mimicking diet can provide a workable alternative. The structure of this plan means that you get enough calories to keep you going, but not so many that your body is not encouraged to clean up at the cellular level. This can be a real lifesaver for those who have experienced the challenges of strict water fasting, such as feeling extremely weak, lightheaded, or even nauseous. By having a bit of food on board, you can mitigate these issues while still reaping the benefits that come from a metabolic reset. Many people have different reactions to water fasting because our bodies are all unique. Genetic differences, variations in gut bacteria, and even personal tolerance levels mean that some individuals thrive on water fasting while others struggle. If you fall into the latter category, you might find that following this specific eating plan is a more comfortable and sustainable way to achieve similar results. It gives you the flexibility to enjoy a small amount of food while still experiencing the benefits of lowered insulin levels, increased recycling of cellular waste, and the overall resetting of your metabolism. It is important to note that this approach is not intended to replace a balanced, nutritious diet in the long term. Instead, it is meant to be used periodically, either as a standalone cleanse or as a supplement to your regular eating habits. For example, some people choose to incorporate 1 or 2 days of this diet into their routine on a weekly or monthly basis. This can help maintain the benefits over time, acting as a preventative measure against various conditions associated with chronic low-grade inflammation and insulin resistance. If you are managing conditions like type 2 diabetes, or if you are simply interested in keeping your metabolism in check, incorporating a few days of this eating plan periodically might be beneficial. While this plan is effective for many, it is not a one-size-fits-all solution. The choice between a water fast and a fasting mimicking diet ultimately comes down to personal preference and how your body reacts. Some of you may have a high tolerance for water fasting and might continue to do so without any issues. Others might appreciate the extra support that comes with a carefully structured eating plan. The goal is to provide you with options so that you can choose the method that best suits your individual needs and lifestyle. It is all about listening to your body and being open to experimenting until you find what works best for you. As you consider this method, I encourage you to think about your own experiences with fasting. Perhaps you have tried water fasting in the past and found it challenging, or maybe you have never attempted it because the idea seems too daunting. Either way, this approach offers a middle ground that might be just right for you. You are not forced to go without food completely, yet you still trigger the same natural processes that help your body clean out old, damaged cells and improve metabolic function. It is a gentle way of hitting the reset button on your metabolism while still getting the nourishment you need to keep moving through your day. On any given day of the 5-day cycle, you start by planning your meals around foods that are naturally low in protein, but rich in healthy fats and a moderate amount of carbohydrates. This means focusing on vegetables, especially leafy greens, and using extra virgin olive oil as your primary source of fat. You might also include small amounts of low-protein vegetables like cauliflower or asparagus to add variety and fiber to your diet. The trick is to avoid foods that are typically high in protein, such as meat, dairy products, eggs, legumes, and even certain broths. Even though these foods have their place in a balanced diet, they do not fit the requirements for this fasting mimicking plan. I have found that planning ahead makes a significant difference. By preparing a menu for the 5 days, you can avoid any unnecessary stress about what to eat. You might decide to cook some of your meals in advance, like a large batch of vegetable soup or a big salad that you can portion out over several days. Keeping things simple is key, and the more you stick to whole, natural ingredients, the easier it becomes. This way, you also benefit from the fiber and other nutrients that are naturally present in fresh vegetables, which can help you feel full and satisfied even though you are consuming fewer calories overall. Another point I want to address is the role of carbohydrates in this plan. While many diets focus on drastically reducing carbohydrates to promote ketosis, this approach allows for a slightly higher carbohydrate intake because the total number of calories is so low. This means that you can include a modest amount of starchy vegetables like sweet potato, but you need to be mindful of the portions. If you find that your goal is to remain in a deeper state of ketosis, you might consider substituting some of the starchier vegetables with more fiber-rich, non-starchy options like additional leafy greens or cruciferous vegetables. This way, you still get the benefits of fiber and bulk in your meals, which helps with satiety and overall digestive health. We also need to address the idea of pre-packaged fasting kits. While these kits offer convenience and take the guesswork out of the process, they are not necessarily the best option if you have some experience in the kitchen. The kits are designed to be foolproof with carefully measured portions that keep you within the desired macronutrient ranges. However, they often come with a high price tag, around $200 for 5 days, and may not provide the same nutritional variety as a home-prepared meal plan. Additionally, many of these kits include processed ingredients and additives that might not agree with everyone, especially if you have any issues with digestion. If you enjoy cooking and have the time to plan your meals, I encourage you to try this method on your own. Not only will you likely save money, but you will also have the opportunity to customize your meals to your taste preferences and dietary needs. It is clear from many personal experiences and anecdotal reports that this fasting mimicking diet works. People who have struggled with extended water fasting due to feelings of weakness or discomfort have found this method to be a workable alternative. When you stick to the guidelines, keeping calories low, protein very low, and using healthy fats to make up the majority of your intake, your body is prompted to switch into a mode where it begins to clean out old, damaged components. Over time, this process can lead to weight loss, improved insulin sensitivity, and a better overall metabolic profile. You may find that even if you are not trying to lose a significant amount of weight immediately, the long-term benefits include a better regulated metabolism that can help you maintain a healthy weight in the future. Another important benefit is the potential to reduce the risks associated with chronic conditions. For example, many of us know that prolonged periods of high insulin and chronic low-level inflammation can contribute to conditions such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even issues related to brain health. By periodically resetting your metabolism through this type of diet, you give your body a chance to reduce these risk factors. While this method is not a cure-all and should not replace any prescribed medical treatments, it can be a valuable addition to a comprehensive approach to long-term health maintenance. Simply think of this plan as a reset, a chance to give your body a break from the stresses of everyday eating. Our modern diets, which are often high in processed foods and excessive calories, can take a toll on our bodies over time. By stepping away from these patterns for a short period and providing your body with a well-planned, low-protein, high-fat regimen, you are offering it the opportunity to repair and rejuvenate itself. Many people find that after completing this cycle, they feel lighter, more energetic, and even mentally clearer. It is as if your body has been given a chance to catch up on its own maintenance, which in turn can lead to improvements in overall mood and physical performance. If you decide to give this method a try, you might consider integrating it into your routine on a periodic basis. Some people opt to do this once every few months as a way of keeping their metabolism in check and as a preventive measure against the gradual buildup of unhealthy cells and substances. Others might find that doing it more frequently, such as once a month, provides them with the energy and clarity they need to perform at their best. The frequency is ultimately up to you and should be based on how your body feels and responds. It is always a good idea to listen closely to your body and adjust your approach if you experience any discomfort or adverse reactions. For those who are new to this concept, the idea of deliberately reducing your protein intake might seem strange. After all, we are often told that protein is essential for building and repairing tissues. In this case, however, the goal is not to maintain muscle mass or promote growth in the usual way. It is to trigger a specific physiological state that leads your body to activate its natural recycling systems. By keeping protein intake extremely low, you encourage your body to search for alternative sources of amino acids, which in turn activates the processes that break down and recycle old or damaged cells. This is a deliberate signal to your body that it is time to clear out the old and make way for the new. The result is not only a cleansing of the system, but also a resetting of the metabolic pathways that control how your body uses energy. If you've been hesitant about water fasting or just want an easier way to reset your metabolism, give this a try and see how your body responds. Let me know in the comments if you've tried fasting or this approach before, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more health tips. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.